Clerk.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. So I also rise in support of this disallowance motion. This debate is not about whether fisheries should be sustainable. They must be. The debate is about process, fairness and consequences. It is about how this government has implemented these changes. The lack of notice given, the absence of meaningful transition planning and the real-world damage now unfolding across Warren Blackwood and the rest of the state. Before we go further, we must acknowledge one critical fact. Last year, a report confirmed that this commercial fishing industry was operating sustainably. The Minister is aware of that report. The industry was complying with every management requirement placed upon it. Quotas were observed, reporting was transparent, monitoring systems were in place. These commercial fishers have done absolutely nothing wrong. They have followed every rule, they have invested in compliance systems, they have submitted data, they have operated within a framework developed over decades. They live and breathe the ocean, and their livelihoods depend on healthy fish stocks. No one has a stronger incentive to protect sustainability than those who rely on it. Yet despite that, they were given 3 weeks' notice. 3 weeks' notice, a sledgehammer over Christmas. 3 weeks to unwind businesses built over generations. 3 weeks to deal with bank loans tied to vessels.
What a disgrace.
3 weeks to inform crew that they no longer had work. That's just 3 weeks over Christmas. That's unbelievably tough.
They did the same thing to your forestry industry.
Yeah. I was in the Augusta on the 8th of December, shortly after this announcement was made. The meeting room was full, the mood was heavy. Many in that room had only found out through social media, not through a formal departmental briefing, through social media, not through structured consultation. They were told the ban would commence on the 1st of January 2026. It hit them like a sledgehammer. I have rarely seen that level of shock and anger in a community meeting. They were disciplined operators who had complied with every rule asked of them. Business owners were staring at boats, still carrying finance with no clear pathway forward. What's next? How do we pay the bills? And how do we put food on the table? There was no structured transition package outlined, no staged adjustment, no economic modelling shared, just a date, January the 1st. How does any business transition in 3 weeks, particularly over Christmas, when offices close and agencies shut down? The emotion in that room came from a deep sense of injustice. These fishers had followed the rules. They had invested in good faith, and with a stroke of a pen, what many have described in this place as a captain's call, their livelihoods were effectively erased. Regional communities are resilient, but resilience should never be mistaken for indifference. This decision is even more confusing when viewed against recent history. Under the previous Fisheries Minister, bag limits were increased. We were told stocks were healthy. We were told settings were appropriate. Now we were told we're at critical limits. What science changed? What modelling changed? What assumptions shifted so dramatically? Regional industries deserve transparency. When management settings move from expansion to emergency in just a few short years. Deputy Speaker, Augusta has a world-class, purpose-built marina. It was designed as a working harbour. It has proper facilities, modern infrastructure and significant investment in marine safety. The Augusta Sea Search and Rescue building alone has recently seen $650,000 invested. This infrastructure was built to support active vessels and a vibrant marine economy. Today it is markedly quieter. Fuel turnover is down, bait and tackle sales are down, marine servicing work has reduced, hospitality spending has declined. We have seen a world-class infrastructure now underutilised because the government has stripped activity away from it. And where has that activity gone? To smaller facilities such as Windy Harbour. And for the members' benefit, I'd like to just hold up the boat ramp at Windy Harbour. So you've got to be a skilled captain to negotiate those rocks. So this is the aerial photos from down at Windy Harbour. It was absolutely packed in the car park, and this is where everyone's gone to, because at Augusta you're not allowed to fish, so they head to Windy Harbour, and that's what everyone's dealing with to try and launch their boats on a low tide.
What's it look like there, remember?
Well, it's a different ocean, but there's plenty of rocks. The Titanic captain would have trouble navigating through that one. So we've gone from that, a purpose-built, royalties for regions marina built in Augusta. So people are now basically launching in treacherous conditions. So Windy Harbour, as you've just seen, is not a commercial marina. It's a small coastal settlement with limited infrastructure. It was never designed to absorb significant increases in vessel traffic. Yet displacement effort is now flowing there. Boat ramps are buckling under pressure. Trailer parks spill beyond capacity. Congestion increased frustration and risk. But the greater issue is the water itself. Windy Harbour sits directly on the Southern Ocean. It's a dangerous coastline, as the member for Albany has outlined. This is not relatively protective like the Indian Ocean coastline. The Southern Ocean is exposed, powerful and unpredictable. It is characterised by heavy swell, sudden weather changes, strong currents and limited shelter once offshore. Launching and retrieving vessels in these conditions requires proper infrastructure and careful timing. When ramp congestion increases, pressure builds, people rush retrievals, boats queue in exposed water and operators attempt to beat weather windows. This is when mistakes happened. We now have a situation where a purpose-built marina in Augusta sits quiet, while activity is displaced into a far more exposed and less protected environment. That is not strategic planning. The economic impact does not stop at the marina. For more than 20 years, local shark fishers have supplied the Augusta Hotel with fresh shark, including bronze whaler. It has been an affordable meal for families and seniors. Most people cannot regularly afford premium demersal species like pink snapper or dewfish. Shark has been the accessible option. Now that local supply has stopped, product must be sourced from elsewhere. In Walpole, fish is now being freighted in from Albany. Freight adds costs. Reduced supplies adds costs. Those increases are passed directly to consumers. If you do not own a boat, you will be paying more for Australian fish. That is now a fact. At a time when cost of living pressures are front of mind, this decision makes fresh, locally caught seafood more expensive and less accessible. The southern demersal gillnet and longline fishery has been managed since 1989 under strict controls. It is regarded as one of the most sustainable shark fisheries in the world. At its last AGM, DPIRD provided a clear endorsement of its management framework. In Zone 1, approximately 70% of the catch is small bronze whaler shark, not gummy shark as it is often assumed. Yet closures have extended beyond that stated West Coast bioregion boundary, effectively capturing around 40% of Zone 1. That lies outside that boundary. That inconsistency requires some explanation. Deputy Speaker, this does not occur in isolation. We've seen live sheep exports, native timber, now commercial fishing sectors severely constrained. At least,
are they going to cancel next goal?
Exactly. At least the forest industry and the sheep export were given a couple of years to transition.
6 months.
But not the commercial fishers. Industry after industry in regional West Australia is being reduced or removed. Confidence is eroding. When regulatory settings change with 3 weeks' notice, sovereign risk increases. Future investors hesitate. That hurts the next generation of regional jobs, and people in regional WA start to ask, why do Labor keep attacking our food and fibre industries? Deputy Speaker, this captain's call has shut down access to previously certified sustainable industries, provided only 3 weeks' notice over Christmas, left deckhands unemployed with limited support, underutilised world-class infrastructure in Augusta, displaced pressure to Windy Harbour in a dangerous marine environment, increased the cost of seafood for West Australian families across the board. Sustainability and fairness can coexist, but this process has not been fair, and I call on members to support this disallowance. Regional West Australia deserves sustainability, but it also deserves certainty, respect and common sense, and I commend this motion to the House.
Yeah.
Member for